So, this is Damian from V13. I'm joined by Bryan of the Bouncing Souls. Firstly, how are you, sir? Everything good?
Everything's great, thanks.
Amazing. How are you finding Slam Dunk so far? Have you even had the opportunity to enjoy anything?
The highlight of my day so far has been watching Snuff.
I am gutted I actually
One of my
missed
favorites,
them,
one of my favorites for sure.
Trying to get here on time from South London, not an easy journey.
No, that sounds like it sucks.
It did a wee bit. But either way, we're here to talk to you.
Yep.
Obviously, your latest album was 10 Stories High.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that record, how it was to record? Because having read what I've read, it's sort of, because of the COVID, what we don't like to talk about anymore, which I still got a few questions about, which is confusing.
Yeah.
Because of that, that's where this all sort of came from. You couldn't tour and all of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we went through the whole COVID thing, of course. 10 Stories High, though, is its own story. It's not related to COVID at all, actually. We're like out of that shit. And this record is like a little unique in that we took other people's stories, right? We like just kind of had one-on-ones with various Bouncing Souls fans and kind of got their story and wrote their song for them. And that's at least 8 of the 10 songs are that. So that's why 10 Stories is how it got its title. Just deriving inspiration, from the people in our lives,
Cool. So that does lead me into the next question, because you did do sort of a Patreon approach to things.
Right.
And, yeah, sorry, go on.
No, yeah, this is related to that.
Yeah. And, people that are on a certain tier, you actually wrote specific songs for them. Now, how did the decision to actually take that approach come around?
Honestly, like, we are trying to survive like without touring, which is our source of income, and we're like, what can we sell, And we just literally were selling our personal possessions and trying to come up with basically some kind of like sort of content that we might have value to people. And it was that line of thinking that we were like, if you subscribe at this tier, we'll write you your own song and press it on vinyl and give you a 1-of-1 copy, like your own 7-inch of your own song. That was like and there was like 10 of those spots, which I think ended up being 11 because we like fucked up somehow, but I think we did it 11 times. And then 8 of those are on the record, just because we were like, these are good. Like, let's go back into the studio, do it proper with Will. Like this guy, Will Yip, who's our producer, is like, we make extra magic with Will in the circle. So we just kind of next leveled up those songs for the album.
So where did obviously you've sort of said it came out of COVID, or this whole idea. Did you, how did you decide on what songs to write for these people? What were the prerequisites of that? I mean, did you just chat to them and find out what sort of stuff they like?
I mean, this was, it was still COVID times, so and just due to other logistics, like we had like a Zoom meeting with them. It was like the 4 band members and this, whoever kid, right? And we would just like be like, it's just like having a beer at a bar with someone and being like, so how did you meet your wife? Or, like, what do you do for a living? Just basic questions to get them talking. And they're just jotting down notes. And sometimes, often it would be like, it wasn't something we planned or could control. They would just say stuff that, like, whatever, like, all of it really just came from them, like, it's all in the lyrics,
Yeah. So were there any sort of like really weird sort of requests or things that came out of these conversations that led to I suppose an unexpected turn of events for the songs that you were writing for them? Or were they all pretty standard?
Each one was totally different, like it ranged from like a guy who was like, oh, back in college, I had a college radio show called True Believer Radio. And we're like, oh, there's a song, like, and to like a guy who was just from Denver. And we were just like, we love Denver, and we just wrote a song about Denver. Like, we just like, you could kind of write a song about, you could find inspiration anywhere, like, you know what I mean? Like,
of course, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a good love story or two in there, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I met my wife, we were at all the same shows, but we didn't know. And then when we got together, we were like, wow, you were at that show? I wonder where you were standing. We could have been right next to each other. And then that was a song, you know what I mean? Like, so that was kind of a cool love song that I don't know if we would have come up with ourselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is obviously a really unique way of coming up with songs and writing songs. Do you think it's something you might do again and try that process again? Because it is unique. It does connect you with those fans in a way that I guess a lot of bands don't really think about. So would you go for it again?
100%. Yeah. I mean, you just have to be inspired. It could come from anywhere. You know, it could come from like a personal experience, or you could be inspired by someone else's story just as equally. You know, and so it's all out there for the taking. You know, and I love. It sounds corny, but I actually really love the sort of Bouncing Souls fan universe. You know, and I get to interact with them at my tattoo shop every day, dude. Yeah.
Oh, completely gate crushed you.
How
you doing, man?
Pete,
Welcome. Nice to meet you. So we've just been joined again by. Sorry, I didn't catch your name.
I'm Pete.
Keep.
How's it going?
Cool. So
Interview crash.
no, it's all good. Like, you keep me on my toes. Now I've got two people to transcribe. So it's going to get interesting.
We help each other that way.
Amazing. So we've just been talking about the Patreon and all of this sort of stuff that you guys did.
Okay.
Ask Bryan, you know, what was the interesting way of did you find it was an interesting way of writing songs, and would you do it again? So what's your view on that? Would you?
The cool thing about that, to us, was a way to keep us all together and doing stuff together during the pandemic. You know, we'd meet up every week, like on the internet, and talk about music, and then write songs from like across the country. You know.
Yeah, we actually arranged songs through Zoom too. It's like a love-hate relationship with Zoom, right? I mean, I'd be happy to never Zoom ever again, but at the same time, I'm super grateful for it because we actually can write with people. Like Greg lives in a different state and George lives in a different state, so Pete and I get together. We'll write up a song musically, and then we'll just Zoom those guys.
Of course.
And then we'll arrange it together and so on like that.
It did change the way we all worked, actually. So
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? For me, the whole Zoom world, people willing to do interviews over Zoom, they made life a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
So
Can't hate.
exactly. So obviously you're touring with your latest album and everything like that. You're playing a load of shows. What will come next after you've done everything and the dust settles? You're ready to start going forward.
Probably like a couple new tunes, maybe. Do another Volume 2 record. that we're
Yeah.
Trying to do, and
That's
keep
kind of
doing
the
what we're
plan.
doing, you know.
Because we put out a record before 10 Stories High called Volume 2.
Yeah.
Happened to me. What became of the people we used to be? All right, sorry.
There we go. No, that's
Fucking
all
love
right.
Snuff.
We're going for a sing-along.
Come on. What a band.
They are great. I've got it. Gutted I'm missing them, but I'm still
it
happy
sucks.
I'm chatting to you.
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
good. It's good.
Well, I'll tell you what. We'll wrap this up as quickly as we can,
Yeah.
so you can at least catch some of them. Because I now feel really bad.
That's all right. I'm going to finish that thought. So we're going to probably do another acoustic record, semi-acoustic record. We did one called Volume 2. It's not really an acoustic record, but it's like acoustic instruments, but also like electric instruments, stringed instruments, and wind instruments, like a bit fancier. We might do that again next.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So just to try and wrap it up for you, because as I said, you clearly want to go and watch Snuff, and I don't blame you for that. So I always like to try and end on a joke where I can. So
Right.
if you got a joke you can tell, that'd be amazing. But I've got one for you. By the way, are you Donald Trump fans? This is the big question. Oh, good.
Fuck no.
Then you might enjoy this because, well, obviously, there's a big fear that he might get into power again. And one of his little-known policies, I don't know if you heard about some of the policies he wants to introduce.
Yeah.
Well, he wants to outlaw shredded cheese. Can you believe that? He wants to make America
No.
great again.
Oh, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I know. It's one of my favourites. She's heard it loads, and she's
I like
sick of
it. I like
so-
it. It's like we're dads. We're dads.
Dad
we
jokes,
understand dad
exactly.
jokes. It makes sense.
Amazing.
And we hate Donald Trump, so
Yeah,
fuck
fantastic.
that piece of shit.
Well, I want to say thank you both for having a chat with us today.
Cheers.
Enjoy the rest of the show and gig and festival. It's been amazing. Thanks a lot. Take care, guys.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.